Alright, welcome. This is M-Dog, and we are playing Prison Architect once again. If you saw the first video, of course in that video we simply went through the introduction, the tutorial basically. And now what we're going to do is we're going to start a new prison here. It gives us some options on what we want to do, and we'll go ahead and start with small. You can actually expand as you play and buy new land or expand your land. So we're fine just starting on a small map. Fog of War is interesting. I like to keep that on. What this does is you highlight over it, it tells you that you'll lose visibility of the insides of your prison buildings unless you have guards or cameras covering that area. So it just presents a situation where if your inmates are in locations where guards or cameras are not currently located, then you won't always know what they're doing, which can be kind of fun. So I like to keep that up. Continuous intake. If this is checked, you continue to get, you have no control over how many prisoners you're getting. You'll continue to get them every day. If you disable this, then you can choose when you're ready to receive prisoners. So we'll keep that enabled. Generate lakes, pretty cool feature. Of course, we do want to generate forest. It's nice to have plenty of lumber around, and it's something you can sell to make a little extra income. And every update, or recent updates, they've been doing more and more with what you can do with the lumber. It sounds like they still have plans to go much further with that process, but we'll keep that on. Generate lakes. This is still quote-unquote experimental, as you see in the message that comes up there, but it's kind of neat that you can have random lakes come up, and it does block sections of your land, but it kind of looks cool. You can also generate some derelict buildings, and you can use as you wish. So that's kind of cool as well, but we're just going to play with sort of the basic setup with Fog of War and Forest on, and we're going to start a new prison here, and go ahead and pause it, and check out how this process works. So I was thinking about editing this video up a little bit and just kind of skip into the significant parts of gameplay, but I think instead I'll show you what it really actual time looks like starting out your first prison. And so if you're already playing this game, this video probably won't be very helpful for you, as there's still so much I'm learning. But if you're very new to the game or considering purchasing the game, this will give you a good idea of what just those first hour, first few minutes, first hour, however long we play, will be like for you. And I've done this process a few times now. Every time you do it, you kind of learn some more. So the first thing we'll do is go ahead and read the CEO's letter. And again, the first couple times you play it, this will be very helpful for you just to remind you, like, this is what we ought to be doing here initially. Basically, he's saying first person you probably want to hire is a warden, which that is the case, although it's not stated here. The real reason to hire a warden pretty early after you get his office built is because that will start the process of you being able to research things, which is important to go ahead and unlock some of the things that you can research. The warden, the CEO, points out that individual cells are expensive, so early on it's an option just to start off with a single large holding cell, and then many prisoners can share that instead of having an individual cell for each prisoner. Of course, you're going to want to have a kitchen and canteen up very soon, with some cooks so that there are meals to eat, and you'll need to be able to work on utilities very early as well. So that's what the CEO letter says. We'll go ahead and delete that, as I've read that multiple times. So this gives you an idea in the top left hand part of the screen. This is when your first prisoners will arrive. You've got 23 hours, so just under 24 hours by the time we paused it, until they arrive. And we need to have some things set up for their arrival, obviously. We don't want them just roaming the land here. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to this reports button down here in the bottom right-hand portion of the screen. And here you have several tabs. The ones that are available to us to look at right now are staff. The only staff we have are the 8 workers that you start with, and from this menu you can fire them, and it also centers on each one as you go on them. They're all actually together in the truck just arriving. You can look at your prisoners and what risk they're categorized at, jobs, and you can look at grants. First thing I'm going to do is accept a grant. Probably once you have played this a few times and you really have a good plan of action and have an idea of what you want to do, you'd probably go ahead and take all the grants, because that just gives you more money so that you can make decisions even from the beginning that won't cause you a headache later on because you had to take cheaper options. You can just go ahead and sort of plan for the future even as you build initially. So we're going to take this basic detention center contract, and this is basically, I mean, you're going to, in building your initial setup for your prisoners, you're going to do a lot of these anyway. And once you accept a grant, it comes over here in your to-do list, and basically everything you need to do to fulfill that grant is here. So other than the shower, and you don't necessarily have to hire 2 chefs right at the beginning, but other than those 2 things, we would have probably done that anyway. So I have thrown out my back recently, so if you see me moving around a lot and it looks like I just can't get comfortable, it's because, well, I can't. Which means my chair makes lots of annoying noises as we're doing this. So all of these tabs down here in the left-hand part of the screen at the bottom are the important tools that you'll use as you create your prison. Now, the first thing we're going to go to here is planning. And this is something that's really cool and I think really useful. You can go ahead and sort of get an idea of what you want to do in terms of, see, it's paused, we've got all the time in the world. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and think about everything is going to come up here. We've got deliveries landing here, garbage exiting there. So this is sort of the front entrance to our prison. Everything will happen from this road right here. So, you know, we may want to have somewhere around here an office, and we may not want it to be a perfect square. We may want it to look a little interesting. And, you know, maybe down here, maybe we end up with 2 offices up here. And then down here, maybe this is somewhere down here is where we end up with a visitor center or whatever. Pathway, you know, we'll probably just end up with a main pathway going down the middle. And you can do this obviously any way you want. And this is part of the fun of the game, is just getting in there and trying different things. So the other thing we'll be building early on is probably go ahead and build a pretty large canteen for everyone to eat at. Off of that, we will want a kitchen, and it doesn't need to be as big. And there will be a door, a staff door, so that the staff can go from there to from the kitchen to the canteen. We also will want that holding cell, and we'll probably make it pretty big. And then maybe a yard where our inmates can go for some rec time as well. So you can also go ahead and place objects, like if I wanted to say, okay, well, I know I want the desk here. If the door is going to be here, I want the desk here with a chair, you know, the filing cabinet here. So you can go ahead and sort of map things out, and they won't, you know, the workers won't build anything just because you've mapped these things out. They'll just ignore the planning stuff. You actually have to go to foundations or one of these other buttons to actually start building. So just as a starter prison to show you what some basic functions look like, let's say we're going to do this. Oh, and the other thing we would probably do is go ahead and build a wall, or maybe initially just a fence. Might bring it out and then really go ahead and, you know, bring it way out. And fence is real cheap to make. In fact, I think it's free. Eventually you would want a wall. You know, maybe you've got a fence there and then a wall kind of inside here, and then you could put a guard patrolling between the fence and the wall. But anyway, so that's enough there to get us started. So let's go ahead, and the first thing we'll build is our little office here. And I'm not sure how this will work. I've never really done it this way. 3 separate things here, but I think that will work out just fine. So let's go ahead and unpause it, because that will give our workers something to start working on. We do need a door, and this is going to be an office, so we'll go ahead and make this a staff door, and we'll have the door be over here. It is a good idea to also go ahead and think about walkways. And we're going to use paving stone for our walkway. And we'll also have them go ahead and start this. The benefit of going ahead and doing the walkway early on is that it allows for, what was this down here? Oh, that was probably going to be a visitor center or something. The walkway allows for your workers, once it's complete, to be able to move much faster. So that only helps you even early on. So it looks like, unfortunately, and this is one thing that you sort of learn as you start to play, unfortunately they are working on the pathway first, which is okay, but we need for this building to get through that so that we can kind of progress and start doing some other things. And you see our deliveries start to come in. All of the resources that we've paid for our workers to use to build these, to build this building and this pathway. So only one worker is really focused on the pathway. You see he's got paving stone that he's pulling out of this box here. There's more paving stone in this box, and he is working hard. The nice thing about this game is you can speed up time. So we've only got a few workers now working on this building, and now they have completed the building and they've put the door in, and this building is now complete. So let's go ahead and pause it again, and let's talk about this another aspect of the game. If you look at the rooms button, this is how you're going to designate different rooms or areas in your prison. Okay, we'll go ahead and take the office here, and what we're going to do is see it shows us once you have it all. I'm trying to see if this got designated, if all of it got designated for office. I think it did. And once you have designated a room, it basically tells you to complete this you need to do certain things, and right now it's saying this because it was paused, it was messed up, but so we need an office, desk, chair, and filing cabinet to complete that. So we'll go ahead and go to objects, and you can see here the desk. You can rotate it by clicking your middle mouse button, and we'll go ahead and put that there where we indicated in our planning phase. A chair, rotate it around, put it there, and then we need the filing cabinet, which is right here, and we'll just throw that up there. Let them go ahead and get started on that. And our pathway is getting pretty close to being complete, so we'll go ahead and start working on our next building. Let's see, this is going to be a second office. I think we talked about this being maybe the visitor center, which really isn't something we need to get to right now. We do need to go ahead and work on, however, is both the kitchen and canteen, which will be down here. So we need a couple of jail doors. We'll do a large jail door to get in and out of the kitchen, the canteen area, and then again the entrance to the. Let's see what this building looks like when they complete it. See if we actually need to build a wall or if there will be one naturally there. Go ahead and speed up time a little bit here. The way we did that, the walls may be end up being open there. And that'll complete the building. Although it didn't complete the bottom one. There we go. So it does appear to be open here. So what we'll need to do then is go to brick wall, and then put a staff door right there. And let's see how that turns out. And again, we'll go to rooms. This is going to be the canteen. And this is going to be our first kitchen. Now we could also put a secondary door here. And we'll have them do that. Alright, so both these buildings tell us what we need in them. We need a serving table, table, and bench for the main kitchen. For the canteen. A serving table is where the inmates will get their food from, and it's where our cook will drop the food off. So we're going to put this real close to where the cook comes in and out so he or she does not have far to go. And we will go ahead and create I'm just trying to see on spacing here. We'll go ahead and do 2 of them, and we'll need benches on either side of both tables. So that's the serving table, and our benches. Now, for the kitchen, we need a cooker, fridge, and sink. Cooker, fridge, and sink. Let's go ahead and put the sink in. It's the largest item. And we'll put it down here. The cooker we'll put on this side, and the fridge we'll put over here in the corner. Alright, let's go ahead and pause it. Get those things in before we move on to the next building. Make sure we have satisfactorily completed these buildings and everything looks sound. There comes the cooker and fridge being installed. Still waiting on the tables. And I think we will go ahead and make an additional pathway right there. And we have 16 hours before our first prisoners arrive. So everything is looking good. We have met all of our qualifications for both of these. So let's continue with our buildings here, and we will make another foundation. We'll get them working on that foundation. This is going to be a large holding cell, so we will do a couple entrances there. And let's speed them up a little bit, complete this building. And you see all these blinking electricity symbols or lightning bolts. That is just showing that we currently do not have power. And once we have this finished, that is the next thing we'll do, is go ahead and address utilities in our prison. Alright, so we see where we want the path here. We will go ahead and pause that, let them work on that while we are selecting holding cell. It's a very large holding cell, but that's okay. We can always partition it off later if we like. We can change it into a different building, a different purpose. There's plenty of options for this size building later on. So what we need here is a toilet and bench. We'll go to objects. Actually, let's go materials first, and let's decide where we're going to put these toilets. They come in here. So we'll just put a couple of stalls right up here. That means toilet. And we're going to go ahead and put regular doors on the stall so that there is a little bit of privacy. Maybe not the best idea to give prisoners privacy, but just seems like they're going to need it. We're also going to put a phone booth. Just a couple of phone booths near each other. No privacy for phone use, but at least they will have it. And of course, to make this room complete, the other thing we will need is a bench. Up here, and we will just do a couple side-by-side benches, and that'll be good. Let's speed them up and complete this building. And one thing that we should have already done, even talked about it, is we should have gone ahead and hired a warden, but we did not remember to. And you see, he already claims this. He claims whatever office is available. He claims this. It now says warden's office. So now we can go to bureaucracy and we can start to research. The first thing we're going to research is a warden. If we set up a warden office and hire one, he can start researching his own things while our warden continues to research other things. So for 500, it'll take 6 hours to research the warden. Alright, where were we here? Finishing up the holding cell, finishing up the pathway here, or maybe they've already finished it, it looks like. And we do want to build a yard here eventually, although that's not necessarily immediately required. There we go, the bench is finished in, so we now have completed that. Let's move to utilities here, and we'll go ahead and pause it. We'll put our utilities over here, I think. We're going to put let's move them up just a little bit. Power and water pump station. Put them pretty close to each other. And so from the power station, we'll go ahead and put one capacitor there. You don't have to have it at the beginning, although with kind of the layout we're building, I suspect we might be pretty full capacity just from what we're doing here. Alright, so we're going to need power cables coming straight down, and from there we'll just take them straight down to here, which is all we need for now. And then basically we'll just take the power run cables off of this main line. And somewhat similar here on water, we'll run a large pipe right down here and then take it to there. And then we'll use smaller pipes to get the water. Let's take that off. Let's see, that was electrical cable. Smaller pipe, let's do it to here. And then we also need to run it right here. And though I haven't seen it myself, apparently if they're really determined to escape, some criminals will try to crawl through your larger pipes and escape that way. So you have to keep that in mind, I suppose. Though again, I haven't gotten to a point in the game where that has been attempted. Alright, so let's go ahead and fast forward a little bit here and see them start to put those things in, because that will begin to provide power, and we'll need to build some more cable And it's funny how they start far away at times from the main source. They don't even have the water pump or power station in yet. All right. It's hard to see all of it if you're not in utilities mode. And we've now got just over 9 hours left until our first prisoners arrive. They've still got quite a bit of work to do here before this is complete. And we know we're going to need some more wire here for the electricity. And we're going to do a little experiment here. We're going to run one right up to here and see if that gets this whole area. It may not quite be a large enough space, but I want to find out if it is. If it is, then we'll do the same test down here. Oh, and we will need power going to here as well. All right. Yep, that was enough. So let's see about down here as well. You see the water did run to these toilets. It did run down here, which is good. And we're almost done with the electrical cable to here. Oh, let's see. I don't think it's going to quite be enough. No, we're going to have to run some. And we'll just run it to right there. Alright, we can come out of utilities now. As you see, you do see how much power we're using. We're about halfway there in terms of the amount of power we're using. So we've got to... I'll go ahead and sell this lumber. It's just sitting here. Obviously we don't need it, so we'll sell it. And they still have some cleanup to do here, which is fine. But everything is in pretty good shape. I think it may be worth going ahead and building a visitor center as well as a staff break area. And let's see what those require. A staff room requires, a very small room is fine. And just the sofa, chair, double, and drink machine. Visitation just requires it be indoors and a visitor's table. Okay, so we'll work on those. First, let's do a yard. Let's do a brick wall, just to have a consistent look with everything else. Since this is the yard, I don't think we need a foundation. But we will, of course, need a door. And let's go ahead and have them start working on that. And objects, we can put maybe a couple more phones And other than that, I think we're good. Let's go to rooms and see if we can even do it this way. Has the door gotten installed yet? Hopefully it has not. Yes, it has. Okay. So now this is a yard. We are 4 hours away. Alright, let's see what we want to prioritize here in terms of... We could just put the workers on our fence. I'll tell you one thing we want to do. We want to get at least one cook. And we might as well get 2 guards. We're going to need more, but for now we'll just get a couple guards, get them in the routine of being here. I think, well, I don't know if there is a priority. I think we probably want to go ahead and get both done. And I'm just kind of using boring square buildings here. But it's functional, and just trying to give you an idea of what these first moments look like as your prisoners arrive for the first time. As you can see, it's nighttime, so it's hard to see. Once it hits daytime, it'll be getting very close to when they do arrive. Oh, this fridge is not getting... Let's look at this real quick. It's not getting electricity. Because this is the type of unit it is, it may not be getting electricity because of it needing direct power to the cable. In other words, running the small network cables off of it may not be enough. That might be why it is doing that way. Let's think about doors here. Alright, so this one was going to be our staff room. Obviously, a staff door will be ample. And I would rather it be over here. Although, we may do one on either side. And if we're going to do that, let's go ahead and, before we forget, go ahead and do that. Doors are there. And as soon as the building is complete, there we go. We will make this a staff room and see what else we need to do. Sofa chair double. Wonder if that means 2 sofa chairs? Or is there literally a sofa chair double? How much room do we have? Oh, we've got room for both. So we'll put that in there, and then we'll also put 2 sofas, and then we need a drink machine. Looks suspiciously like 7-Up. Alright, and down here, this is going to be a visitation room. So, we will do a jail door right here. And we could do a regular door here, but that would allow the visitors to just come in and out without... Well... we can try that. Yeah, let's just try it. Let's just see how it works. pay attention here when this gets finished. Okay, it looked like the double sofa chair did it, not two single sofas, not two single chairs. All right, so this room is now complete. We can now create a visitation room. We need a visitor's table. And we'll have 2 of them. And that is all. So we are 1.5 hours away from having our folks show up. Let's get them to finish this, and then we'll go ahead and start working on a fence. Okay. Visitation is now complete. So let's go to fence and let's see if it still is free to make a fence. Yes, appears to be. So we want it to go to there and to there, and we want a we could put a road gate right here. Yeah, we won't do that for now though. Let's just get a large jail door. Is that the best kind of door to use? Guess it is. Let's see how that works out. And we'll let them finish that before we continue with more fence. We've got less than an hour until they get here. I guess they can get in right there. Just kind of double checking that. Alright, so we now want the fence to come this way. And then up to here. And then this way. And down to here. And we sort of changed it a little bit from our planning stage. And you can go back to planning at any time and remove stuff. You can remove it by drawing lines. You don't have to do it one block at a time. So let's see when the prisoners get here what happens. Oh, I tell you what we need to do before they do arrive. We want to go ahead and have their schedule. This is going to be the schedule. So, according to this, they're going to sleep at 11 and waking up at 6. So that is 7 hours of sleep. That sounds about right. Let's move shower to there. Actually, we're going to do eating here. Give them 2 hours to eat. We don't have anything set up where they can work yet. So we'll do just a block of free time. There was some yard time, more free time, more eating, more free time. So it doesn't look too bad. Lots of fun. Giving them 2 hours to eat with how long it takes them to get anywhere and all that, it's probably worth it to have 2 hours instead of just 1 for eat time. At least that's my experience so far. And the workers are continuing to work on this fence, and they will still be working on it at the time that the prisoners first start arriving. So we need to build a shower and 2 chefs to finish this contract. But first, let's watch as our prisoners arrive. Each one, as you can see, has a name. You can click on each one. It tells you a little bit of a backstory. This is Ed Hornick, sentenced to 3 years for multiple crimes, including aggravated vehicle theft and aggravated vehicle theft. He has a wife who's 44 as well. He served 4 years out of 7 years. So each one has their own little story, and all that is great. So we did want to go ahead and do this. Just a little something I'm going to throw down here to be worked on before I forget. And we'll go ahead and place a door. This is going to be a secondary office. So we want our paving stones to lead them to our main pathway. And the reason why we're doing that office is, as our prisoners are now getting off the delivery truck, is we have finished researching our warden. So the next thing we want to research is health. The other options down here would be mental health, legal, finance, or security. Maintenance can also start, our warden can start researching things as soon as he has an office, and that's why I'm building this office down here. So our prisoners should be escorted to holding cell automatically as soon as our 2 guards get them off. And we're going to hire 2 more guards to help out. Do we have a second cook yet? Nope, we just have 1, so let's get a second cook. And now, other than the shower, we have pretty much done everything we needed to do for that first grant. So they are almost off the truck. And we can look and see what time it is. It's currently in free time, so they're not going to have any sort of responsibilities as they initially arrive here. They are finishing up our building here. Let's go ahead and say that this is another office. Which requires the same things it did before. So we need an office desk, a chair, and 1 more filing cabinet. And once that's complete, we'll hire our foreman. Let's check on those prisoners. See how our construction is working. And as a simulation game and just a sort of almost a city building game, obviously it's pretty focused on just building a prison, the game is already very fun. But now you get to, they went to the yard. They didn't try to escape, although they will eventually start trying to escape. So the other thing we need to start doing is start finishing our fence. Is our door working on our fence? Yes, and that is slowing things down, but it does eventually at least make things more secure. So we need to work on that. Office is good to go. Let's hire our foreman. Perfect. So now what we can do is go to bureaucracy. We can start doing cleaning. That was the janitor, groundskeeper, clone. It's pretty cool. Or prison labor. First, we're going to do cleaning. And I don't think I remembered to do it before. We also wanted to do health. Okay, so we need to go to, let's pause things a little bit here, go to utilities and just see how we're doing here. The main thing we need right now is more power. As you can see, we're starting to get high, so let's go ahead and install our second one of those, and then we'll get some cable running off of this down to here. Foreman has his office. This workman, for some reason, is stuck here, which isn't great. Maybe he doesn't have anything to do, but there really should be things to do. As you can see, our prisoners so far are doing what they're supposed to do, staying in the right places. As soon as we finish the work we're doing on utilities, we will go ahead and start working on this fence. Because right now, prisoner escaping would not be difficult or surprising. You see they're in here ready to eat. And it looks like recreation is what they are most desiring right now. Alright, I think we're good to go now. Let's go ahead and get this. Let's go ahead and get this fence finished. And that will take quite a while to finish, but it will be good to have it done. What just happened? Thought I heard electricity sound or something, which made me think maybe we had lost power, but I think we're okay. Alright, is there anything that would provide recreation? I guess we could put a pool table in, we could put a TV in, a weights bench. It's pretty inexpensive. Let's get a little closer here. Let's see where we're gonna put these. Alright, so we'll put some of those in. And I wanted to just see how fast this was going. Pretty good, but it wouldn't hurt to hire a couple more workmen. Get them to work. They do have food to eat, so our cooks are doing their job. Hopefully at least some of our guards are staying with the bulk of prisoners, which they seem to be. See our progress here from our workmen. Uh-oh. He is escaping. We lost a prisoner, folks. And that's why we're trying to get this fence built. Boy, they just really skipped over that portion, didn't they? They might have been staying clear of the escaping prisoner. Now, the other thing we could have done is focused more in that first night of, instead of relying on the holding cell, building some individual cells to put these first prisoners in. But I think we'll get into that in another video, because that does take a little bit of time and sort of expands another type of building that you're making. I'm not sure that this kind of fence is necessarily going to keep them from escaping all the time. Uh-oh. We've got another runner. Yeah, if you're going to escape, this is the time to do it. So we are down to 6 prisoners. 6 out of 8 ain't bad, I suppose. This is where all the prisoners want to come, apparently. It's an easy escape. Well, on a positive note, we hadn't had any fights break out. That often happens. In fact, I've seen workmen killed by the prisoners, and that's probably why you see those workmen scattering anytime those escaping prisoners are getting close to them. Alright, fence is up. This guy has gotten stuck on the outside. See if we can get him here. Alright, fence is up. So this may be a good time to bring this video to a close. It's been quite a lengthy one. I really just wanted to show you in real time an example of what it will be like to start a prison here. We haven't had a whole lot of action with, usually you'll see a couple fights, probably if we waited till our next 8 prisoners arrived and things got a little more crowded, then we might have seen it, or if we hadn't have anticipated their needs quite so fast with putting benches in, having phone booths available. Now, one thing we don't have yet is showers. That's going to start driving people a little bit crazy. You see some hygiene things coming up over people's heads. Sleep as well. They don't have beds to sleep in, so that's going to be frustrating. So things will deteriorate if we don't start building individual cells and beds and all that. Then things are going to get quite interesting around this prison. And the fights, when they do break out, basically what happens is the guards, who usually take care of business pretty quick, will kind of beat them down, and oftentimes they'll also be put in solitary confinement. So if you have one of those, the guards will automatically take them to solitary confinement. And then if you have a doctor, anybody that's injured, as long as they didn't die, anybody that's injured, the doctor will come restore their health. So it's kind of what happens when you have the fights, and we may have a chance to get into that more in a future video. So right now it is just after 9 in the evening, and these prisoners are wondering where they're supposed to be sleeping. But this is sort of how you will likely start in terms of some of the buildings that you would be. You definitely do things like the holding cell, the warden's office, canteen and kitchen are musts, a yard, just for the sake of the grant money, and plus to have the recreation opportunities is important. So those are pretty much things you'll always build pretty early on. Staff room is nice just because it helps keep your staff functioning at a high level. Visitation room, that's just going to be a need that comes up with some of your prisoners, is they'll have families that are basically waiting to visit them, and if you don't have that available, that will become a problem. So you see all these prisoners were ready to get out, but they had to wait till a guard came and unlocked it for them. Again, it's happening here. Anywhere these locked doors are, they can't just come and go as they please. They have to wait. Guards are putting them back in their holding cell. Looks like they're making a mad dash to use the bathroom. And this is where we potentially could see a fight as the frustration rises with not having showers and beds. You hear the bathrooms flushing. Alright, so let's go ahead and wrap this one up. If you enjoyed it, please, well, first of all, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Love to get comments. Let me know if you want to see more from Prison Architect. I love this game. Now, it's in early access, so, buyer beware. There are bugs. There's still features that haven't been implemented yet that they plan to implement. There's plenty of different types of buildings, activities, things that you can do that we haven't gotten to yet in this video. There's challenges that you'll face that we haven't seen in this playthrough yet. So if you want to see more, let me know that as well. I may do another couple videos on this game regardless, but I don't know that I'll prioritize them unless I hear from some feedback that that's what people are wanting to see. But anyway, as always, thanks for watching, and M-Dog is out.